What is up, Ravens Flock? Huge shout out for your support for the 410 Sports Talk. James and Glenn are the best in the business. They're killing it right now. They love talking Raven talk. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Let's go Ravens. Big trust.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin. I pointed the wrong way again. That way. There he is. Welcome in. We're here to talk about, as you see in the title, reportedly, one, Bobby Wagner is Ravens bound. Wow. But before we get into our excitement, what we think, if it's actually going to happen, what our thoughts are, take a second, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, give us a like, leave all your comments below. We love interacting with you guys, so make sure to do so. But Glenn, I'm here to talk. Well, we're here to talk about it. Bobby Wagner. Really quickly before I dish it to you, you and I kind of crossed this one off the list as a nice to have type situation where it was like, hey, this is a really nice to have, but we kind of consider it a cherry on top because the Ravens have so many other needs. Now it looks like the Ravens are the front runner. What's your take on this whole thing? Because we haven't really talked about it too much since like they had the visit, right? Like we did the video on the visit, but not the same as it feels now.
Right. Yeah, because typically this is a move that we wouldn't see the Ravens do. I mean, I guess part of it is something we'd expect from the Ravens. The fact that he is getting older and he is at a point in his career where he doesn't seem to be purely motivated by hitting that big contract. So in that regard, it's just something that the Ravens typically would go after. However, he's still so talented. He's still playing at such a high level that it's going to be a very expensive move. And from all indications, it looked like, kind of surprisingly so, that Wagner was hoping for a very short deal,
like
with
1 year, right?
Yeah, like a 1 year, $11 to $13 million contract, which would be something impossible for the Ravens to put under their current salary cap with their the way everything's currently situated. So that's the part that was kind of surprising to us. And then you hear he's going to the Rams, who seems like the Rams can find money to sign anyone. So and they also added a ton of big name guys already, last season. So it would make sense that they would try and do something again like that this year. But all indications are that the Ravens are the front runners. Josina Anderson was the latest to tweet, about the situation. She says, "I'm told that Bobby Wagner and the Ravens are still talking, per a league source. So it's definitely a positive, yet still fluid." So it's definitely not set in stone. And I'm hesitant. Like I don't even want to get too excited, Jimbo, after the Zadarius Smith situation, because while we're excited and we think that things are moving in the right direction, there's still a very good possibility, or I guess there's still a possibility that he will sign elsewhere.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all this could be for naught, right? In and out in a second. Once we get a tweet and he's going to the Rams. And my concern is that the Rams would be the team to.
Well, because look, they can offer one thing we can't. The Ravens can offer probably similar money. They can offer similar in the sense that they're both competitive teams. Obviously, the Rams just won the Super Bowl, but the Ravens are certainly right up there with competing. But the one thing they can't offer is the opportunity to play Seattle twice. That's something the Ravens can offer, and the Rams
and Bobby Wagner's from LA.
Well, there you go.
So he'd be going home.
He'd be going home. So a lot of it comes down to, what is it? It's his preference. But what would make you most excited if let's say an hour from now, Jimbo, Josina Anderson tweets or Jeff Zrebeck tweets, the Ravens have signed Bobby Wagner. What's your initial thoughts?
Yeah, my initial thoughts are this helps in two ways. One, this helps because he's incredible at his position. Two, it helps because it takes the mantle of, I want to say this the right way I'm not trying to discredit another player, but it takes the responsibility of like thinking a lot out of Patrick Queen's hands at the position. I don't mean that in a negative way, but I think Patrick really excels in an instinctual role where his athleticism and reactionary instincts are overriding everything else.
Yeah.
Right. And So it allows him the scope of what he does to get narrower and deeper, which is what we want for Patrick Queen, right? And then on top of that, obviously we have a top tier player next to him. And hopefully Pat learns a thing or two from Bobby and his process, how he studies, how he watches film. And he says, okay, I'm a first round pick. If I want to be like this guy, I need to do this, right? Like I need to live life this way. So I think all of those things I would be excited about. Really, all of it centered around Patrick Queen, aside from the fact that the dude is an all-pro playing next to him.
Yeah.
Right? So going from Josh Bynes to Bobby Wagner, you want to no knock on Josh, but that's like the outhouse to the castle, bro.
It's a big step up.
No knock on Josh Bynes.
Right.
But Bobby's just that good.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the guy's insane.
I think that there's one play that has Bobby Wagner. Well, one play that has Bobby Wagner really considering coming to the Ravens. You remember that play they caught him on tape where he was like, dude, that dude is fast. He tried to catch Lamar.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be a big draw when you see Lamar Jackson as your future quarterback. That's a big draw. And at this point, look, here's the concern, right? He'll be 32 when the season starts. So the concern is that he's a linebacker and he's getting into his low 30s. And when does the cliff come? Because a lot of times it is a steep drop and a sudden drop from being a productive and talented player to being, on the downslide. So,
well, Glenn, I'm gonna cut you off real quick because I just realized something.
What's that?
Bobby Wagner is only 2 months older than me. So I'm gonna say the cliff ain't nowhere near, baby. I just put it in perspective, and that cliff is not even on the horizon, bro. I'm not even worried about it anymore.
But look, Jimbo, when you go for your runs, and look, we all know you like to exercise, but is anyone running into you at 230 pounds along your run? I mean, that's
right.
the issue.
And,
when does the body break down?
I got to stretch a lot more.
You see? Look, you're worried about how do you recover after a run. This guy goes to war every Sunday.
Yeah.
And has been doing so for many years. An 8-time Pro Bowler, 6-time All-Pro. And, so I get, like, you look at last year, he had the most tackles that he's ever had in a single season. He had 170 combined tackles, never misses game. And he's a guy who's been incredibly healthy his entire career. And so if you look at all the evidence, it suggests that he'll be out there and he'll be ultra productive. But, eventually you have to hit the wall. And does also any concern with a famous Seattle Seahawk?
I was thinking the same thing.
Does Earl Thomas bring back any flashbacks?
Well, because Earl, we saw that behavior in Seattle.
True.
Right. He's always been a short fuse type guy. Right.
He did give Pete Carroll the middle finger on the way off.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, and I think Bobby's been a consummate professional, consummate pro. Man, I remember Bobby when he was at Utah State because that's when I was living in Utah. And, like, they were, for a while, crazy to think about. Like, Utah State was, I think that one of the years he was there, they beat us and BYU. They were the big deal in Utah, and they're, like, puny, right? Like, he was a big part of that. Bobby Wagner is a player. I think he's a leader, but, based on your question, I'm not concerned about that. This is the one thing I do get interested in. If he wants a 1-year deal for a lot of money, you talked about the cliff. Do you think he sees it himself? You know what I mean?
That's the question. What's the motivation of having a short deal?
Is this a money grab, Bobby?
Unless it's one of those, when Darrelle Revis was at the end of his career, he took a bunch of 1-year monster deals rather than the 3-year. Because usually when you get a 3-year deal over the 1-year deal, it's because you like the security of having a few years under your belt. But usually you have to concede a couple dollars in the annual salary in order to get the 3 years. So maybe he's just looking at it as, I need to maximize my end of my career. And the best way to do that is to take 1-year monster deals. And that could be the case. It's worked for a few guys. Darrelle Revis, another guy that jumps to mind. The risk there is if you get hurt, but he's banking on the fact that he's been extremely healthy his entire career.
Yeah, no, for sure. And all these are reports, guys, just things we're hearing. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens moving forward. And
the good thing is, if they get him, while it's not the most glaring need, it's still a need. We concede the fact that it's a need when Josh Bynes isn't on the roster, LJ Fort's not on the roster, and right now you just have Christian Welch, Patrick Queen, and Malik Harrison. So we get that it's a need. It just wasn't the most glaring need when you consider edge and in the condition that the edge position's
Even the
in,
interior
offensive line. I mean, offensive line is such a big need. Even the one spot we feel the best about, which is right guard and Zeitler, he's what, 32, 33, and he's never made a Pro Bowl. So even at his best, he's a guy they have to replace in the very near future, and that's the spot we feel best about. So while we get that this is a need,
now you're scaring me, Glenn.
I'm just saying.
My heart rate right now. You had to go do all that.
Well, part of the reason why we didn't take this as seriously is because we just didn't look at it as the most glaring need. But
right, 100%.
I still think he helps, if they were to get Bobby Wagner, he covers up a lot of deficiencies that you have. I mean, his coverage skills compared to Patrick Queen, he's going to give that pass rush a little bit longer to get there because of his coverage skill. He's a great blitzer. I mean, there's a lot of things this guy can do that will help other areas of the defense.
Yeah, and then on top of that, the one thing that I think it does, it sets the Ravens up, even if it's a one-year gig, it sets the Ravens up for – the Ravens defense, everyone's looked at the linebackers, obviously with Ray Lewis, we can just say with Ray, but you think about the other guys, Bart Scott, Sharper, like there's a lot of guys that have played in the middle that, and I'm sure there's a few more that I'm missing, but really those three to me come to mind. Mm-hmm. And it's always been about how much help they're getting up front to allow them to execute at their job, right? So what it does to me is it lines up the Ravens to what we learned from DraftPlex. We think the best chance the Ravens have of getting the highest tier player from a position standpoint is at the D line. Mm-hmm. And so it sets the Ravens up to go out and get a Jordan Davis or another guy, but a real monster up front that can free up Bobby and that can free up Patrick Queen, right? So it could be a setup play. It can be there's so many levels to this that it's going to be really interesting to see. I can't wait to see what happens. I'm going to be disappointed if he goes to the Rams.
Yeah, how about we just setting ourselves and on the rest of Ravens Nation up for just another disappointment? I really hope not.
Yeah, I hope not as well. But guys, this is reportedly like, look, we source a league source apparently has said that he's Ravens bound.
Yes.
We'll see. There's a lot of league sources these days. So
yeah. Let's hope there's no other monster deals that makes Bobby change his mind.
Yeah, like the Von Miller.
Yeah, let's not see any monster contracts being doled out to middle linebackers in the next couple days.
And last thing, Glenn, I would say that I might at this point feel better about right tackle than right guard.
Well, Morgan Moses, yeah. I mean, yeah, but look, Zeitler was our best lineman last year.
Right, and we've actually seen him play in the Ravens. So I totally get it. That was just something I was thinking about, trying to make myself
But even Morgan Moses is 32.
Right. I'm just trying to make myself feel better any way I possibly can.
I got you. Yeah, no doubt. But let us know what you guys think. Yeah. Would you be overjoyed? Would you say, man, as good as a player Bobby Wagner is, and as much as he'd helped his defense, I'd like to see us use that money elsewhere. I mean, that's certainly an opinion that I think a lot of fans have. But let us know all in the thoughts below, and we'll talk.